I'm a designer by accident, by chance. I was pursuing zoology when I suddenly felt like it's too boring for my taste, and then I went to NID to pursue my designing course. And what I'm presenting today is basically my understanding of design throughout the years that I've been into design practice and how my work reflects that understanding. So, design is a journey an individual undertakes to best express a solution, like you see. And there are a few topics and points which I'll explain as I go. The first one's inspiration, to look around, breathe, feel, and find a new voice through all that exists. To find a pattern in the undulating hills, music in the humdrum of a factory, and art in the creases of a hand. Inspiration is a catalyst for mind to see with new eyes. Now, basically, as designers, we always need a starting point, and for most of us, it starts with inspiration. For me, my inspiration has most of the times been the regular Indian street art, pop art, kitsch that people call it. So you have your matchboxes, you have hand-drawn posters, truck art, and all these very kitschy, loud things. Because for the simple reason, I believe that they capture the attention, they capture someone's short span of like say 3 seconds of free time while he's passing by the subway, by the metro station, by the railway station, bus stop, and you definitely acknowledge what's been written, although it's bold, loud, crass in design terms, but that's always been something I've been inspired by, and it reflects in my work. The first project I'd like to share was a project done for a company called Design Walas. It was for their interior, for the stall at Frankfurt Book Fair, and I was supposed to take an inspiration from the truck art and sort of replicate that into a pun on an Indian context where we think like of cow as something being holy, but no, what they wanted was to create a sort of a very silent style, like something not over the top, but by placing the head of a cow on a shield and saying that okay, there's like a trophy, and how you go ahead with that. This was featured in the wallpaper issue of 2011, June Indian issue. And after the exhibition got over, the response was so good. People didn't, that was just done for the interior design. But what people wanted was a series of diaries because this company deals with stationery. They wanted a series of these animals basically. So that was the order that came from Frankfurt that people wanted this. So an entire series of how animals were drawn, basically taking reference from truck art, but the forms had to be slightly more refined and not as say, unrefined as how they are in truck art. Refinement was the key in this one. So, you can see different animals. Now, another one was my diploma project with Design Walas only, which was about coming out with a series of Bollywood. Now, what my client wanted very specifically was not something that is inspired by the kitschy Bollywood hand-painted posters because he thought it was done too rare. So I had to go in a like a very fresh mindset and come up with something like a fresh visual appeal to what he would sort of sell at Frankfurt Book Fair, which should also look slightly global and not very Indian. So that was the sense of aesthetics the brand followed. And here I have a series of diaries inspired by the popular characters, like you have Thakur, you have Anarkali, you have Devdas. So there's one series of caricature notebooks which would, if you could see the end pages, had a bit of humorous take on how Bollywood is and basically rules of Bollywood, so that if the bottommost in the middle part is that a hero will never die, that's the cardinal rule of Bollywood. So similarly, there were like 6-8 different rules which were illustrated in the end pages. This was featured in Time Out Bangalore 2011 again. And then another series was a series of graphically inspired just movies still. So you see this love, and that is intoxication. There's one more that's violence, and there's one more that's about music. So there were 4 diaries in all. This was something I had done for Bluff publication, again inspired by that kind of an aesthetic. They had come with a book called The Obligatory Journal, which was featuring a lot of work from different artists and different contributors. My work was to illustrate Sanskrit mathematical problems by Bhaskaracharya and to give them a very fresh look so that people would sort of find them interesting, and that was the whole idea of Arjun, like the main guy behind this book. So he wanted these things to come with something. So the idea was his that we need Sanskrit shlokas, but the whole idea of sort of illustrating it in a very modern, fun way, although keeping that edginess in mind, was my idea. So as you can see, there's a problem about how many elephants are there. Some of them are playing. So X, Y, Z. That's the kind of basically cues were given and you had to come up with answers. And like so similar, there were some different kind of problems. There was one in which the couple was engaged in love making, and how many pearls fall on the floor, some fall under the bed, and how do you represent that, keeping an Indian sensibility in mind that okay, it can't be over the top, it has to be slightly subdued. And similarly, again, something to do with gods and goddesses. So that was one project. These are some textile prints are done for a client in Ludhiana called Shingora International. These are inspired again by Bollywood, and this another print, which is, if you see on the right hand side, bottom side, is a screen print by, which is inspired again from the over the top like truck art, and this is again note to Bollywood. And as you see, these tools were meant for a Brazilian market where all these bright colors do really well, and that's what the client wanted, something that's slightly pop, quirky, fun, but something that's not again very Indian. So that's a kind of aesthetic. The next bit is about sensitization, to regard the situation, contextualize action, and be sensitive to the call and needs of the hour, designing with priorities and meaning to bring about a change, small or big, by working well and working right. There's a quote by Jeffrey D. Sachs that we need to defend the interests of those whom we've never met and never will. And this is mostly about my textile projects at NID, which is, again, as you know, I'm a textile designer by training, I'm a graphic designer by practice. So as you see that textile designing is actually, it involves a lot of pollution directly, indirectly, in terms of air, water, soil, effluents, and things sort of being not so good for the environment. And that's something I've noticed always. So throughout my work while I was studying at NID, I had tried to incorporate things which could be as sort of eco-friendly as possible with as low carbon footprints. So if you can see, all these material explorations are mostly using waste material which was thrown away, discarded, and my whole idea was to use them in terms of like a fabric art. So basically someone who doesn't have a formal training of anything, he can just pick up any scraps, and how scraps could also look beautiful if arranged in a good way. So there were these, the top left corner you can see these knotted wools. Basically they are small strands of wool which are cut after the warp is over. And this is actually thrown, and the amounts run into like thousands and sort of tons every year. And wool's a precious sort of material, so it was very disheartening to see it getting wasted. So what the simple idea was, just knot it up and use those knots in a simple way so that to create a tactile feel. And the same applies to most of them, which are basically different combinations of wool, cotton, and waste materials. This was a project that was done again at NID, which was about sustainable dyeing. So now I looked at natural dyeing as a dyeing practice, and also it was quite disheartening to know that natural dyeing itself is not very eco-friendly. It uses a lot of firewood, which creates again air pollution. It leaves a lot of residue and ashes. A lot of water which is used is actually like wasted, and you cannot really reuse it back. So I was looking at dyeing and see how I could make that more sustainable. My concept that I thought was using coal dyeing, which was dyeing at room temperature without using any heat. So my dyeing agent was mud, and I used the normal mud, used terracotta. I had done a lot of experimentation with different tannins. Tannins are basically things that fix your natural dye. So it could be anything like guava leaf or a banana plant. So basically similar things. And I used a mordant. A mordant is something which again fixes the dye, and a lot of times people use chemical dyes like copper sulfate, iron sulfate, which are again very bad for the environment in natural dyeing. So my whole point was to use alum, which is very, very benign, doesn't cause any harm, and use alum and myrobalan, which is again a very, very beneficial, like it's almost like a medical herb, and come with a range of fabrics which are again dyed using mud. So basically they're colors from earth. This was again later on refined and made into some saleable products. So if you see these stoles, basically they have gone through a very, very funny process of cow dung. They've gone through banana waste, they've gone through soil and this and that, which you can't imagine. But when you look at them in the picture, they're slightly refined. And yeah, this is the kind of stoles with very, very minimal edging, raw finishes, and basically trying to respect the material and trying to derive as much as you can from the material, not trying to unnecessarily implement things onto it. This was another project done wherein I was exploring my textile sensibilities towards material culture, and bamboo was something which was completely new to me. So we had gotten a chance to explore bamboo and see how differently you can treat bamboo. My whole idea was to try and see if I can get a square profile from the bamboo instead of using the rounded profile to make it look slightly different, and then use those members to make a furniture. And I'd also tried my hand in natural dyeing and see what kind of effects that kind of a member would have with natural dyeing. And the final thing we went ahead with was the capillarity action. By placing these members onto a dye bath, and slowly the way they'll suck up the dye, you'll get slight striations just like you get in ikat. So that was trying to use my textile sensibility in very different context from what I have been using. Then something about optimization, to be aware of your limits and yet bring out the best, discovering freedom with constraints, ingeniously reacting to solve and carve a new path, expressing oneself while respecting borders. Now this is something which is my work at this company called Pinnacle Retail. They were one of the India's leading sort of home furnishings company, and they had a lot of constraints as such. Like when you are, as designers working in an industry, working in a constrained environment, you have to come up with say designs based upon the client's requirements, his economics, his finances. Okay, what works in the market, what does not? Because you might think something like truck art is fantabulous, but then they might say no, this won't work because people in Noida, they want red and green. So my idea was to create something for a room, to transform that room into a very fun place, something for a modern urban person who would, and respecting their sensibilities, not pushing something on them which would be too graphic, too bold. Okay, 7 minutes or 9? 7 minutes? Oh, okay, so my bad. Okay, so this was that project. Then again something that's fun and quirky. And then again, this was for a client called Himmat Singh Ka. They're one of the leading silk furnishing export houses for in Bangalore. And these people, they work with basically very exclusive silk fabrics. They want something which was minimal, using one color. So I went on by using silver as a material, did explorations, and this is something I came up with. Um, this is again like something for National Museum New Delhi. They want a new souvenir done, but again, like I said, they're constrained. So the client wanted it to be necessarily Indian. My idea was to do something else, but like no, I want Indian colors and I want this and I want that. So this is how you actually fit in your sensibilities within a client's budget and their constraints. This is again intuition. This is something which I have been doing over the period of time. This means things that are close to me. I love Bollywood. I love sketching. I love painting. So this is for a client, series of wall art inspired from Bollywood. This is a couple of photographs that I'd taken. I like writing and things. So these images, after I'd taken, I felt like they sort of mixed with, synced with some kind of quotes, and I tried to do some photo manipulation and put them again as some wall art. This is similarly how that kind of a concept, graphic sensibility, reflects into an interior. And similarly, this is the kind of style that I have of drawing, which again was used in the Cocaine 54 Artists Collaborative Project, where each person had to contribute to one playing card. This was a map done for a bookstore in New Delhi called CMYK. They wanted something like a souvenir which a person can take, which is also has a certain value to it. And so basically this came out of it. I'd like to just come to my last part. I think I've overdone. This was about research basically, and how research is very important. After a year in Delhi, after doing very client specific work, I got actually very bored, and I was wondering what is up to with me. So I basically quit my job. I'd taken up a project with the Ministry of Culture that allowed me to travel to Nagaland, Assam for about a year, look at the different traditional culture and traditional textiles, tracing back what is there, what is not, basically prepare a feasibility report for them to understand what's there and what can be done. So it's all about traveling, understanding the local cultural context, seeing what's there, what is not there, trying to revive something that's extinct, and finding your own ideas about the mechanisms and seeing and presenting them to people, which has not been done before. And again, this was about things in Assam and trying to revive things which have been lost. And again, so basically some studies and some understandings, and I'd like to end with this quote by Charles Eames: eventually everything connects, people, ideas, objects. The quality of the connectivity is the key to quality per se. So this is something I really believe in. Thank you.